It's Kristen from Krissy's Cuties. Welcome, Dolly fans! For those of you who know Renee and I from Facebook, we are part of a community called the LOL Surprise Custom Repaint Doll Community. And in this community, sometimes we get a lot of questions. And the question that I'm going to answer today came from Tammy Marie. And she was asking about the joints in the dolls. When we paint over the joints and seal them, how can we then go back and release them so that the doll can still pose even though she's painted? So today I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm sure there's other ways to do it as well. I have seen people take the dolls apart. I have never done that, and I know that once you take them apart, they can be very difficult to get back together. Obviously, the head is easy to take off and put back on, and it's meant to do that. But as far as the arms and legs are concerned, they're a little more difficult to take off. So I found a workaround that will still let you paint the doll, yet you can loosen up all of the joints in order to still be able to pose them. Alright, so first I'm going to paint the doll, and then I'm going to show you how to release the joints. So here we go! Now for all my dolls, I always use a white base coat first. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is put a white base coat on her. I'm using a thick brush. It's a flat brush, but it's pretty big. And I'm just going to cover the whole doll. I should also mention that when I do the legs, I always move them this way, and that's because I want to get in here, in the little cracks of the legs right here, to make sure it's fully covered for when the doll moves that direction. So I always kind of put her in a sitting position in order to paint that area and make sure that it's all covered. Alright, so here she is finished, completely covered with white, and now I'm going to go back and cover her in pink because I need her to be pink. So here we go with the pink. And again, just make sure she's in the sitting position because you want to be able to get this area right in here. And if she's not in the sitting position, whenever you move her, this is going to be all skin tone right here. So make sure she's sitting like this when you paint her. Alright, here she is. I have put 2 coats of pink on her now, as well as the 1 coat of white. So far she has 3 coats on her. I am going to go over her one more time with a light pearl pink. It's a little bit different color than the pink she's got on her now, but it gives her a nice pearly, shiny color. I don't know if you can see the difference with that. I am not a big fan of glitter. Anybody who knows me personally, not a big fan. It makes a big mess, it gets everywhere, and I just can't stand it. So instead of using a lot of glitter, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll use the pearl paint instead, which is what I've decided to do for this doll. So I'm going to go over with 1 coat of this, and it should be the right color after that, and then I will seal her up. And I'll show you how to loosen her joints after she is completely dry. Okay, now that she is completely dry, I'm going to go ahead and seal her with a coat of the DuraClear Matte Varnish. And this is the sealant that I use all the time for my dolls. So as soon as she is completely dry, I will be back to show you how to loosen the joints. So here she is. I let her sit overnight with a coat of DuraClear. I actually put 2 coats on her, especially concentrating on her feet because those get beat up the most when you're taking the shoes off and putting them back on. So I tend to concentrate on the feet a little more with the DuraClear. Anyway, her joints are completely solid. You can't really move anything at the moment. So I'm going to show you how to loosen them. Now kids, for this part, if you are doing this, you need to ask your parents' permission or get their help. X-Acto knives are very sharp and I don't want any of you cutting yourselves, so make sure you get your parents to help you or do it for you. Do not do it yourself. But what I do at this point is I take the X-Acto knife and I just push in the joints. Now see, it already loosened that one a little bit. You just push in at the joint sites all the way around the leg. And again, make sure that you don't have your hand in the way because you don't want to cut yourself. I don't drag it, because if you drag it, the tendency is to start building up the paint in a blob, and I don't want that. So I just push it through until you can see already the joints are loosening up. And once you get about 3/4 away around the leg, you should be able to do that without a problem. So now she can move. And you might get little blobs. I just leave them because, you know, the clothes cover up most of it, for one, and for another, if you start pulling at it, you're probably going to peel the paint off, and you don't want that. So I leave it. But if you ever get a really, really big blob that you can't stand looking at and it looks like it's on the surface, not attached to the whole paint, what I do is I take a pair of tweezers, a really nice pair of tweezers, and I will pull off the blob that way. You just have to be careful when you do that, that you don't pull it off and, you know, make a big hole in your paint, because then you got to start over again. But if it's a little tiny one like the ones that are there now, I just leave them. So again, I'll do this with the other side. Just push in the X-Acto knife around the edge of the leg to loosen it up. I think the hardest part of doing this is getting in between the legs here, because there's not as much area to work with. But as you can see, the leg is now free. And again, I do have little pieces I'm just going to brush off there. And these little ones, they come right off. So you can either use the knife and just scrape them off, or you can use a pair of tweezers. And then the same thing, the arms are a little bit easier because they're so much smaller. So you don't have to go around as much. And with the arms, you don't even have to push in that hard. And it loosens up quite easily. So now we have a loose arm, we have loose legs. Do the last one. And there you go. Alright, let me put this little one together. I know I didn't show you everything as I was going, but I thought it would be fun to show you how she looks together now. Here are all of her parts. And for those of you who like the Cutie Tooties, you'll really like the line that I'm working on now. I am making big sisters to go with the Cutie Tooties because I think they're super adorable and they definitely need big sisters. So the first one that I did is a big sister for Orchid, who's the pink panda in that line. And I'm just going to put her clothes on real quick here. She's even got a little tail. We have not found Orchid yet, so I actually had to do this by a picture, but I think that she came out super cute. There's her head, and all she needs now is her white pom-pom shoes. This one is left, and this one is right. And there you have it. There's my little Orchid big sister. Here are some other dolls that I've used this method with, including my unicorns and my sugar skulls. Remember to subscribe to our channel so you can see all of our upcoming videos. And thank you so much for joining us today. If you'd like to see another video, just click on one of the links.